What does it truly take to be considered?
It is my honor.
And now, without further ado,
let's take a look at
nominees for
Anime of the Year.
Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2!
Devilman Crybaby!
Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
I'm Captain Lupe, and like so many others, I am patiently awaiting the results of the 2024 Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Because even though this award show brings with it endless amounts of infighting within the anime community over which show is truly the best in any given year, any event that can muster up this amount of discussion and sharing over everyone's favorite series and moments, bringing much needed attention to this often overlooked medium, is a huge win in my opinion as an avid anime fan. And oh boy, do people get heated every single year. Year in and year out, anime is becoming more and more popular, leading to its share of the public limelight becoming larger and larger. It wasn't that long ago that you would be ruthlessly ostracized by your peers for coming out as an anime fan. I myself hid the fact that I liked anime up until I was in like college. Nowadays, kids are almost bullied for not liking anime, or at the very least having seen like Attack on Titan. Now, there are many reasons for this shift in public opinion, but much to the dismay of many anime fans, Crunchyroll has played a massive role in this shift. Getting their humble and dark beginnings all the way back in 2006, Crunchyroll has steamrolled their way to becoming a dominant market leader in the West. To prove this point, of the approximately 70 anime airing this spring 2025 anime season, 39 of them are airing on Crunchyroll, making out for a 55% market share, which by Crunchyroll standards is actually quite low. Having that large of a market share comes with its fair share of privileges, one of which allows them to run the most prestigious, at least on paper, anime award show in the West. Within the Western market, there really isn't a single other award show that can truly compete with the sheer numbers that the Crunchyroll Anime Awards puts up year after year, at least not as far as anime-centered awards are concerned. This has allowed Crunchyroll to play a large part in the overall anime discourse year after year since its inception back in 2017. This award show has so much sway and power nowadays that people will use it to justify how their opinions are just simply better. Now, I could sit here and bring up every single award that Crunchyroll doles out on a yearly basis, but similar to the Oscars with Film of the Year or the Game Awards with Game of the Year, the only award people truly care about is the big one, Anime of the Year. 2024, like any given year, had its fair share of medium-defining standouts, and as far as the Crunchyroll Awards are concerned, the following 6 anime were the best of the best. Dawn to Dawn brings with it crazy antics like no other, Delicious in Dungeon truly showing how far a simple concept can be taken, Frieren Beyond Journey's End redefining what a masterpiece truly is, Kaiju number 8 once again showcasing what shonen has to offer, Solo Leveling bringing out the best of the manhwa medium, and The Apothecary Diaries representing the best that the mystery genre has to offer. Now, some of you might be confused as to why I brought up 6 anime, because if you were to believe the online discourse happening in places such as TikTok, Twitter, and Reddit, one might be led to believe that there were only 2 anime nominated for this prestigious award this year. Frieren and Solo Leveling have been dominating the public discourse found online, to the point where until I looked at Crunchyroll's official website, I didn't even know what other anime were nominated. Like, I was so happy when I found out that Apothecary Diaries was getting nominated, but then I quickly got sad once I realized it stands no chance of winning. Frieren and Solo Leveling are simply dominating the discussion far too much. This domination isn't unwarranted either. Frieren truly sets itself apart as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, not only within the anime medium, but in the realm of fictional storytelling in general. It takes real guts to tell a story where one of the most likable characters dies within the first episode. Follow that up with some of the best character writing that the entirety of fiction has ever offered to its consumers, a simple but gripping story that hooks you at every turn, and you have a recipe for success. Frieren truly offers everything that any anime fan should ever need or want. Solo Leveling, on the other hand, has, well, almost none of that. And that there is the crux of this whole video. I truly can't even fathom why there is even an argument in the first place. Solo Leveling can't stand up to the titans of the past. JJK, Cyberpunk, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Devilman Crybaby, Made in Abyss, and Yuri on Ice have all previously won Anime of the Year, and JJK even did it twice. Now, there are realistically way too many reasons to count for why each of these anime deserve the award, but I believe the following 4 reasons are the most important of them: animation, story, characters, and popularity. First up, animation. As much as it hurts to hear, animation is a wildly important factor. Now, I'm not saying that every good anime has to have jaw-dropping animation that makes you hit this Wojak face every 2 seconds, but they do have to have quality animation that can hold up against the field. And before any keyboard warriors start slapping away claiming that animation doesn't matter, let's be real for a second. Is it really that hard to believe that in anime, a show that is animated has to have good animation to be considered the best? Next up is the story. For any piece of media to be considered truly great, it has to have a story that has you gripped and salivating around every corner. Or at the very least, a story that makes you keep clicking next episode even though you should have went to bed hours ago. Far too often, anime knock the other 3 variables out of the water, but either leaves its viewers wanting more in the story, or just straight up throwing its story to the wayside. After that are the characters. I would argue that this is probably the most important factor. You can have the greatest story ever told, but if you fill it with characters that make you want to vomit anytime they are on screen, then you aren't going to garner very much positive feedback. Because at the end of the day, it's characters that usually stick with people for years to come, not necessarily story beats. The lessons they teach us and the mirrors they provide us into our lives can have lasting impacts on a viewer. And last but most certainly not least, popularity. It really is quite simple. It's called the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, an award show that is voted on by the fans. In order to win, people have to vote for the show. The sad truth is this is the factor that actually matters the most, even though I truly believe it shouldn't play a factor to begin with. Just because you are the most popular does not in any way translate to being the best. This is the criteria that is most often used to justify an anime winning Anime of the Year, and it's really hard to try and tell people otherwise. Because of this, popularity is the variable that can most often skew an anime's perception, leading to this factor often uplifting anime to a nomination when they probably don't deserve it over some others. Any anime that can knock these 4 variables out of the water are a shoo-in for at the least a nomination for Anime of the Year. Taking these 4 variables into account proves that Frieren is truly a cut above the rest of its competition, and while Solo Leveling was fun and all, it's probably the weakest of this year's nominations. Now, I already have one video up on my channel where I gush over Frieren, so I will try and keep this brief. I would argue, except maybe for popularity, that Frieren did the other 3 variables better than any other anime in 2024. Of the 3, animation is the most up for contention in my opinion. But even then, Frieren has some of the most consistent and realistic animation that I have ever seen in the anime medium. The sheer detail that is put into every motion, hair flip, step, and attack is simply stunning. Now, if we look on over at the story, there isn't a single anime this year that can even stand next to Frieren. Many people will tell you that Frieren is too slow, but that's the whole point. Much like the titular character herself, the story is meant to be a slow burn driven by its characters, so that we, the viewer, have as much time to spend on it and reflect on what it's trying to tell us. But speaking of the characters, that's where Frieren truly stands out. Every single episode felt like it was filled to the brim with characters that perfectly mirror people you know within your actual life or will one day interact with. Characters that were within the story for singular episodes made impacts that were greater than other series characters that are always on screen. And while Frieren isn't the most popular anime around, it was definitely one of the most popular within 2024. These and many other reasons are why Frieren still sits atop the all-time anime rankings. But in my opinion, if we flip it on over to Solo Leveling, there are just too many visible cracks. Solo Leveling has some absolutely stellar animation, and I don't want to take that away from it. Not many other anime this year or any other year can compete. But sadly, it far too often relies on flashy lights and over-the-top sequences to truly stand out and be memorable. Now for the cracks. Solo Leveling's story is straight up non-existent and rushed for the sake of fights, especially within Season 1. There is no reason to actually care about what's going on at any given moment, and they don't give you enough backstory, time, or explanations to truly get engrossed within the world. Even worse than the story is the cast. I can't say there is a single memorable character within the entirety of Solo Leveling. Most of the characters, including Jinwoo himself, simply exist to fight. That's it. The so-called character development for Jinwoo was just him being gifted a unique ability and then becoming an OP power fantasy character 2 episodes later. I couldn't even remember another character's name besides Jinwoo without looking them up. The main reason that Solo Leveling is being put upon this pedestal is because of its popularity. Sadly, far too often, anime that focus on nothing except flashy lights get uplifted to the same level as anime that are truly great. I don't blame people for watching or even enjoying Solo Leveling. I myself really enjoyed my time with it and will be watching its subsequent seasons. But let's not pretend that Solo Leveling is anything except flashy eye candy that is meant for people to turn off their brains and enjoy some cool fights. Now, if that's all you look for in the anime you consume, that's great, but that doesn't mean it truly deserves to be anime of the year. If Frieren was magically and sadly wiped from existence, my honest second choice for anime of the year would have to be The Apothecary Diaries. Apothecary Diaries might not hold a candle to Solo Leveling when it comes to animation and popularity, although it's definitely no slouch either. It blows Solo Leveling out of the water in both story and characters. As I stated earlier in the video, I would honestly pick any of the other nominations over Solo Leveling. If you haven't watched any of the nominees in general, including Solo Leveling, I can't recommend them enough. Each and every one of them is worth your time and a watch. Solo Leveling was a great show, and I don't want to be too harsh to it, but it just doesn't stand up to the rest. And this is the part where I wonder if there's even any Solo Leveling fans still watching to hear what I'm about to say. My video or any other video on the internet should never dictate what you enjoy in the content you consume. Even more so than that, please do not let this award show or any other award show for that matter dictate what you truly consider to be good within the media you consume. You should always come to your own conclusions and consume the media that makes you happy or entertains you, not what entertains others. I also want to mention that the Crunchyroll Anime Awards legitimacy has and should always be brought into question. They are literally an anime service provider, and not all of the anime nominated are available on their service. It will always be in their best interest for anime that they own the rights to win the various awards, especially Anime of the Year. No matter what anime wins Anime of the Year or any other awards for that matter, 2024 was another stellar year for us anime fans, and I can't wait for what 2025 will bring. But Frieren should absolutely win over Solo Trash.